All right, back inside Sports on Top, my next guest took the checkered flag 111 times during his career. That spanned over 5 decades. He's considered the greatest driver of all time. Mario Andretti, thanks for joining us today.
My pleasure, Lee.
I guess I'll start with the basic thing. Back in 2000, you were named the driver of the century. What is it like to be considered the driver of the century and get that recognition?
Oh gosh, I mean, that's something that's awesome. You never feel that coming, but just to be mentioned in those terms is something that makes you feel pretty good. Obviously, pretty good about your career. I don't think I deserve it, but nevertheless, it's been a wonderful ride for me, as you can imagine.
I think there's a few people that would argue that you deserved it. Over 5 decades, your career spanned. Over those 5 decades, how much did you see the sport of racing change?
Oh, yes, it has changed, and that you could expect. I mean, things evolve, and all professional sports have become just more sophisticated, more commercial, and again, you just when it comes to motor racing, obviously, I think the technical aspect has taken just leaps, and with the computer now, the knowledge factor is enormous, and but all of that is expected. And this, quite honestly, Lee, along the way, this is one of the things that really kept me so motivated, just to keep improving the breed, keep having a better race car every year, look forward to that. And to me, those magnificent times to be able to do that every year. Every year in my career, I drove a different car, different, a new design and so forth. And I love that part of it. And all of that stopped somewhere in the early 2000s, with the spec series coming in, for cost reasons. But I was very fortunate to really enjoy this, continuous development on the technical side.
You mentioned technology changing, and you mentioned driving a different car each year. Does you ever think, like, watching the sport now and how much technology has changed, that maybe technology waters down the talent aspect that guys like Jeff Gordon Jr. and even maybe, just to put out there, maybe Marco have to deal with now because there's other guys that maybe aren't as talented as they are?
Well, I think the driver's job is still, you still have an awesome task at hand. I mean, it's what you have now, however, is even more of a level playing field because, as I said, with the spec series, a lot of the cars are very much the same, and now it's about trying to get that 0 to 1.1% advantage somewhere, and the small things in a car can make a difference because, as I said, pretty much everybody's got the same thing. So, but the driver still, his driver's job, his or her job, is to just take everything to the limit still, and takes nothing away from the basic talent of the drivers. It's just different. You just have different issues to deal with.
In racing, they say that the Indy 500, the Daytona 500, those are the 2 hardest races to win. Me personally, I can't drive a car more than 70 miles an hour without getting freaked out. So me driving the car, it would be hard for me to win any race. In your opinion, what was the hardest race for you to win?
Well, I think any race. I think you mentioned the big events, the Daytona 500, the ones that everyone, even the non-race fans, recognize. But every single race has the same challenges. And every one, it's all of the same aspects of what will, give you a victory are in play. Teamwork, minimum amount of mistakes or no mistakes at all, and all of that is what is needed to win any race. So, as I say, the problem is if you're really focusing in on one race a year, which is like, okay, Indy or Daytona per se, it only happens once a year. Fortunately, the other races, you go here or there, and, life continues, and you go from one week to the next. But it's those big ones that if you miss it that one year, you got to wait another year to try again. the problem.
Oh yeah, of course. Well, you look at the safety aspect too of sports and how it's even with football. The concussions are all coming out. NASCAR made a big deal, especially I guess the biggest thing that opened everybody's eyes was the late great Dale Sr. when he died. Just seeing how all the safety has changed from now to when you used to race. Does it make you think like, man, I was kind of nuts doing what I was doing?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, but it was accepted because we didn't really know any better. We hadn't gotten there. We wanted to. I think many of us were proponents of safety, not just the tracks, but also the cars, because you could see how many little, things you could do to improve the situation. And I did my part. Believe me, I didn't want to get hurt, or worse in a car, and I was a loud voice for a lot of things, and sooner or later, I think the sanctioning bodies really took this on seriously, and that was to me, that's what saved motor racing. Period, as it became more and more commercial, because you don't want negatives. You got companies invest millions of dollars. I said this a million times too, millions of dollars to be part of a team and enjoy success. They don't want to go to funerals. They want to celebrate. So the sport would have been in peril if it did not address safety as vigorously as it does now. So in general, now this is a wonderful thing for the drivers, the current drivers that have the best possible chance ever to finish their career on their own terms, and that's wonderful for the sport. That's probably the best thing that could have happened to our sport, really, just just taking safety head on, so we can, the drivers, the talents out there, we can watch them, for the length of their careers.
We're talking about Mario Andretti. I know you've been known to set records for your qualifying speed. I saw that you did, I believe, 234 miles an hour once on a closed course. Is that the fastest you've ever gone, or what is the fastest that you've ever gone, whether it's been recorded or not?
Well, I think I did a little bit faster at Indianapolis during practice, but this was the Michigan in 1993, where I set a record for qualifying for the Michigan 500, and my speed on a straight line was 252 miles an hour, but the lap time was 234 something. So that was exhilarating. I mean, you knew that that's as fast as that I have felt being in the car, especially on a 2-mile track. And so, again, it's just fun times.
Here in Charlotte, we do the Christmas lights tour every year, and part of the thing is you get to go on the track. I can't imagine going around the track. We did it at like 25, and when you're tilted at that angle, scared the hell out of me. What is it like to do 234 around the track?
Well, it's fast. That's all I can say. We pulled about a little over 6 Gs recorded, and you feel it. Believe me, coming in, I knew that was as fast as I'd ever experienced. But what an exhilarating feeling, however. NASCAR and racing in general always gets the knock from a lot of people who don't follow it that it's not a sport. And I'm going to stand here and say that it is a sport, because whether or not you're going to say that people say that you guys aren't athletic, I think, like you just said, your body takes a hitting, especially whiplash. What kind of pain are you in that after you race for 4 or 5 hours and you get out? Like, what's your body feeling like the next day? Well, any given race is different. However, I can tell you one, the most demanding physically are the road races because of all you do quite a bit more work in the car. But nevertheless, you during a race or a race as a duration for us, usually a couple hours or 3 hours, it takes you a day or so to really recover to normal. And anybody that says, okay, you don't need to be in physical condition to race, all you have to do is go to one of the go-kart facilities and try to bolt yourself in there and do like 30, 40 laps to see if your arms can handle it. So a lot of people don't realize this. They equate that with just going to Flossie, for a 500-mile trip, and then, they're only sleepy after that. But when you're in that car physically, you're committed, and everything is extended to the limit, and it's G forces and and it's heat factor, and it's all those things. And if you're out of shape, you're going to give probably 50% of what you should be giving at the end of the race, and you never want to experience that. So, like I said, I have a fairly small frame, and some events, some weekends, I've lost as much as 8 pounds.
Wow.
As far as even the Daytona 24 hours back in was it 93 or something, 93, yes. And so believe me, you don't do that just by sitting there and smoking something.
In 2006, your grandson Marco became the youngest driver at the time to win a major open wheel racing event. Given that, does he ever say to you that, man, I feel a lot of pressure because you're my grandfather, and then Michael Andretti? Like, does he feel that pressure?
Well, I'm sure the pressure is there, but pressure, it's natural. The pressure is to try to get something done. We talk about these things. We have talked about it at length because the press obviously asks you the questions. But the bottom line is, we always said, do it for yourself, whatever you do. And I know that you have your own goals. That's the pressure that all of us have to try to accomplish that and make your goals very ambitious. As far as trying to equate somebody else and, even though whether it's your father, your grandfather, that times are different, competition is different, but just do your very best. And that's all you're going to be asking of yourself.
Who is the driver in today's racing, whether it's NASCAR, Formula One, or another league, that reminds you of yourself?
Probably Sebastian Vettel.
Okay.
Mainly because he's very committed, no nonsense. That's all he worries about. That's all he thinks about, and is all consumed by the sport. And that's the way I was. I mean, just ask my wife that.
Do you ever get the urge thinking that you could still race?
Oh yes, of course, in my dreams. You never lose that competitive spirit. You have to be realistic. So I use up all my energy when I drive the two-seater.
Mario Andretti, before we get you out of here, we ask all our guests this. We ask for a last call. It's usually a shout-out to something in sports. What would be your last call?
A last call? Oh,
yes.
God. Just to get in the Formula One car today, the current Formula One car, let me play with it one full day.
You think you'd be able to handle the technology right now?
100%, no question about that.